What if I told you that some of the most talented black actors in Hollywood, once praised for their unforgettable roles, are now barely given a chance on screen? They had the talent, the charisma, and the fan base, but somewhere along the way, Hollywood turned its back on them. Was it because they spoke out, made the wrong enemies, or simply aged out of the roles they once owned? Behind the glitz and red carpets lies a harsh truth. Not every star gets to shine forever. These are 15 black actors Hollywood won't cast anymore. 15. Gary Dourdan. Gary Dourdan once lit up television screens as Warwick Brown on CSI: Crime Scene Investigation. At the height of his fame, he seemed destined for a long Hollywood run, with his good looks, charisma, and undeniable talent setting him apart. But behind the scenes, things started to spiral. A series of arrests linked to drugs and domestic disputes overshadowed his career and began to stain his reputation. Hollywood, always quick to distance itself from troubled stars, started closing doors. By the time he attempted to rebuild, the industry had already moved on, leaving him to take smaller roles in independent projects. Today, Dourdan is still acting, but far from the bright spotlight he once had. His story is a reminder of how quickly Hollywood can turn its back, especially when personal struggles become public headlines. 14. Monique. Monique's journey is one of the most shocking Hollywood tales. She won an Academy Award for her unforgettable role in Precious, proving she had the raw power and talent to compete with the very best. Yet, instead of catapulting her into superstardom, it sparked one of the most infamous rifts in Hollywood. When Monique refused to play the game of unpaid promotion and spoke out against being underpaid, she clashed with some of the most powerful figures in the industry: Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. Soon after, whispers of being difficult and unprofessional spread, and opportunities disappeared. For years, Monique stood her ground, insisting she was blackballed, and many in the industry seemed to prove her right. Even though she has slowly begun making a comeback, the years lost are undeniable. Once a shining star, Hollywood's refusal to cast her in major roles cemented her place among the black actors the industry has quietly pushed aside. 13. Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown was once a household name, loved by millions for his hilarious role on Disney Channel's That's So Raven. He had the charm, comedic timing, and energy that made him stand out as one of the brightest young stars of his generation. But fame came too early, and the pressures of Hollywood took a heavy toll. As the years passed, Brown's life was marked by multiple arrests, substance abuse issues, and public breakdowns that quickly overshadowed his talent. Instead of being seen as the promising actor he once was, he became tabloid material, a cautionary tale of how quickly things can fall apart. Despite his attempts to return to the spotlight, the industry no longer sees him as bankable or reliable. Disney's Golden Boy became one of its most tragic stories. His journey explains why Hollywood, with its short memory and little patience for scandal, has placed Orlando Brown firmly among the black actors it won't cast anymore. 12. Jaleel White. For millions of viewers, Jaleel White will always be Steve Urkel, the nerdy, lovable neighbor from Family Matters. His performance was so iconic that it defined an entire era of sitcom television. But the success that made him famous also became his biggest obstacle. Hollywood rarely forgives child stars for growing up, and White struggled to break free from Urkel's shadow. Casting directors couldn't see past the suspenders and glasses, and serious roles never came his way. Over the years, he found work in smaller projects, voice acting, and guest appearances, but never anything close to the success he once enjoyed. It wasn't about lack of talent. White had the charisma and range, but about the industry's refusal to let him evolve. In the end, his career serves as a reminder that typecasting can be just as damaging as scandal. 11. Wesley Snipes. In the 1,990 seconds, Wesley Snipes was untouchable. From New Jack City to the Blade trilogy, he became one of the most bankable black action stars in Hollywood. He had the martial arts skills, screen presence, and charisma to carry entire franchises. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. His reputation for being difficult on set started making headlines, and when he was convicted of tax evasion and sentenced to prison, the damage was complete. By the time he returned, Hollywood had moved on to a new generation of stars. Though Snipes has worked in smaller films and made a few comebacks, he's never reclaimed his throne as a leading man. Once a dominant force in action cinema, he became another example of how quickly Hollywood can shut its doors. 10. Stacey Dash. Stacey Dash's rise to fame came with her role in the teen classic Clueless, where she charmed audiences with her beauty and wit. For a moment, she looked set for a long career in Hollywood. But her career took a drastic turn when she moved into political commentary. Aligning herself with Fox News and making highly controversial statements, Dash found herself at odds with much of her Hollywood base. Instead of celebrating her acting, the industry began to associate her with polarizing opinions that alienated both peers and fans. While she has attempted comebacks, the industry has largely distanced itself, leaving her once bright star dimmed. Stacey Dash serves as a reminder that in Hollywood, personal image is often as important as talent. Her fall from the spotlight explains why she, too, belongs on the list of black actors Hollywood won't cast anymore. 9. Terrence Howard. Terrence Howard once looked unstoppable. With an Oscar-nominated performance in Hustle and Flow and a starring role in Marvel's Iron Man, he seemed destined for long-term Hollywood greatness. But things quickly unraveled. Howard gained a reputation for clashing with studios, most famously after being replaced in the Iron Man sequels due to disputes over contracts and pay. Off-screen, allegations of domestic violence and financial issues only added to his troubles, painting him as difficult to work with. Though he found major success again on television with Empire, his movie career never recovered to the heights it once reached. Hollywood, wary of risk, often avoids actors with reputations that may cause conflict, and Howard fell into that category. Despite his undeniable talent, his controversies overshadowed his artistry. 8. Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell was once one of television's most recognizable stars, with unforgettable roles in Martin and My Wife and Kids. Her comedic timing, charm, and energy made her a favorite with audiences. Yet, as the years passed, Hollywood shifted its focus, and Campbell found herself fighting against both ageism and changing industry trends. While she continued to work steadily, the big spotlight that once shone on her career grew dimmer. Roles became smaller, and leading opportunities slipped away, despite her proven talent and experience. Campbell has remained active in television and film, showing resilience and dedication to her craft, but Hollywood no longer places her at the forefront. Her career's slowdown wasn't due to a scandal, but to an industry that often pushes aside women once they reach a certain age. 7. Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett was once at the top of his game, starring in the hit series Empire and gaining recognition as both an actor and singer. He had the kind of momentum most stars dream of, with Hollywood fully embracing him. But everything changed with the infamous staged hate crime scandal in 2019. What began as a shocking report of an attack quickly unraveled into one of the biggest controversies in recent memory. Smollett was accused of orchestrating the incident himself, leading to criminal charges, court battles, and intense media scrutiny. The fallout destroyed his career almost overnight. Roles disappeared, industry support evaporated, and his once bright future crumbled. While he has appeared in small projects since, the trust Hollywood once placed in him is gone. Jussie Smollett's dramatic fall from grace makes him one of the clearest examples of black actors Hollywood won't cast anymore. 6. Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson carved out a beloved career, known for his humor, charisma, and versatility. He shined in sitcoms like All About the Andersons and reached his peak with Black-ish, which earned critical acclaim and award recognition. For years, he was seen as a reliable face in comedy and family-centered roles. But Anderson's image took a hit when allegations of sexual assault surfaced. While he denied wrongdoing and some cases didn't move forward, the damage to his public reputation was significant. Hollywood, quick to protect its own image, began to pull back from giving him major opportunities. The momentum he built over decades slowed, and his name became associated with controversy rather than success. Anderson's career shift shows how fragile a reputation can be in the industry, even for someone with years of goodwill. 5. Darius McCrary. Darius McCrary became a household name in the 1990 seconds as Eddie Winslow on the hit sitcom Family Matters. His role as the cool, lovable older brother made him a fan favorite, and it seemed like he was destined for a long and successful career. But after the show ended, McCrary struggled to escape typecasting. Hollywood couldn't see him as anyone other than Eddie, which limited his opportunities. On top of that, his career was further damaged by legal troubles and personal controversies that kept him in the headlines for the wrong reasons. While he continued to work on smaller projects and even launched his own production company, he never returned to the level of fame he once enjoyed. McCrary's story highlights how easily early stardom can fade, especially when off-screen struggles pile on. 4. Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. reached the pinnacle of Hollywood success when he won an Academy Award for Jerry Maguire. His "Show me the money" moment is still iconic, and for a time, he looked unstoppable. But instead of moving from one great role to the next, Gooding's career took a sharp decline. Poor role choices in forgettable films chipped away at his momentum. Then came the wave of misconduct allegations from multiple women, which overshadowed any chance of a full comeback. In 2022, he pleaded guilty to forcibly touching a woman, solidifying the damage to his reputation. Once a symbol of promise and charisma, Gooding is now remembered more for scandal than for his talent. Hollywood has little interest in giving him another chance, making him one of the clearest examples of black actors it won't cast anymore. 3. Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer's story shows how even undeniable talent doesn't always guarantee Hollywood's full support. She started young, starring in hit projects like Aquila and The Bee, and later proved her range with both comedic and dramatic roles. Yet, despite her charisma, singing ability, and strong fan base, the industry often overlooked her for the kind of big-screen roles that could have solidified her as a leading actress. Instead of waiting for doors to open, she built her own lane through independent films, music, and talk shows. She even became a viral sensation for her authenticity and unfiltered personality. Hollywood's hesitation didn't stop her, she simply rewrote the rules of what success looks like. 2. Isaiah Washington. Isaiah Washington had it all at one point: fame, critical acclaim, and a major role on Grey's Anatomy, one of television's biggest medical dramas. But his career took a sharp turn after a highly publicized scandal involving a homophobic slur on set. The controversy not only got him written off the show, but also left a lasting mark on his reputation. Hollywood, known for being both forgiving and ruthless, seemed unwilling to give him another chance in mainstream productions. While he continued to work in smaller films and independent projects, his days as a household name quickly faded. The fall was shocking, considering how powerful his performances once were. In many ways, his career became an example of how one mistake, whether personal or professional, can lead to an almost permanent exile in Hollywood circles. 1. Larenz Tate. In the 90s, Larenz Tate was one of Hollywood's most promising rising stars. His performances in Menace II Society and Love Jones turned him into a fan favorite, especially among audiences who saw him as a voice of a new generation. His range, good looks, and intensity should have made him a permanent fixture on the big screen. Yet, for reasons never fully explained, Tate stopped getting leading man opportunities in Hollywood films. While he found success on television in shows like Power, the same energy never translated back into major movie roles. Some say it's Hollywood's long history of sidelining black actors once they no longer fit a particular box. Others believe it's just bad timing and a lack of the right opportunities. Whatever the case, Larenz Tate is a prime example of an actor who had all the tools but was pushed out of Hollywood's spotlight. Hollywood loves to build stars, but it also has a history of casting them aside when they no longer fit its image. These 15 black actors proved their talent time and time again, yet still found themselves pushed out of the spotlight. Was it industry politics, personal controversies, or simply Hollywood's refusal to create lasting space for them? The real question is, how many more talented actors will be quietly forgotten before things truly change? If you believe these stories deserve to be heard, don't let them fade into silence. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss the untold truths Hollywood doesn't want you to know.